Well, here I am back again. Got a new table. Oh man, it's so cute. Uh, and it's gigantic too. It's 10 feet long and I think about 60 inches wide. And I built this table for a very specific reason, not just because I wanted to, but I got this silly little ad on Craigslist. And, uh, and I didn't think anything was going to happen with it. It's just this little two-line ad with a couple of pictures of what I do, and it says, semi-retired machinist does machine work and welding for a reasonable price. I get more calls on that ad. I cannot believe it. And one call I got about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and this guy, he sent me an attachment, and he said, "Hey, have a look at this and see if you want to tackle it." Well, I opened it up. I opened up the attachment, and the attachment had 40 pages of drawings of this sign for a big corporation. And I'm like, really? Wow. Okay, let's see what, Nick, the always yes guy, I'm willing to do almost anything in metal, of course. Maybe a little bit of wood and some clay, and okay, some watercolor too, all right. But for money, metal is my favorite. And so I open this thing up, and this is incredibly complicated designs. And maybe I'll take some pictures of it in a little while, and you can kind of see what the whole process is about. It probably took me a week to figure out what the engineer who drew these designs had in mind. And so then I bid the job, and I says, okay, I can do it for $6,000. And the guy jumped on it. He was excited, and I'm thinking, whoa, wait a second, slow down. Maybe I want to charge a little more. But I thought, well, okay, that's fine. I wanted to make about $4,000 on the deal. It's going to take me probably about a month to do once I get all the materials all set up. And so he says, okay, go ahead and figure out how much materials you need and what you need. So I start calling around, and the company wants this made in 316 stainless steel, which is like food grade stainless steel, or marine grade stainless steel, which is like the most expensive and also the hardest of stainless steels to work with. So it turns out that the cost of the materials alone cost $10,000. So all of a sudden now we're up to $15,000, $16,000, and the guy's still going, okay, yeah, let's keep going. And I'm like, okay. Well, it turns out that he's totally overwhelmed with a bunch of other projects he has, and this project was needed to be done in order to get these other projects, and he just couldn't handle it. So he passed it off to me, which is great. I could use the money, and it's an exciting project too. So basically, I'm starting to collect all kinds of materials in stainless steel, of all things, and had to buy a new welder because my welder was kind of screwy. Buy a few new tools to kind of help the process. So how about if we kind of walk around the shop? Oh, by the way, a couple of weeks ago, I had a fire in that corner, and I took a video of it, and maybe I'll add that video into this here. But we had a blaze just roaring up above, all the way up to the ceiling in that far corner, and I'm like, oh my God! We run and grab the garden hose. Luckily, it wasn't a grease fire or something like that that wasn't going to get put out by a garden hose. We put it out in about 5 minutes, just luckily, and since then, because it left such a disaster, and also, by the way, it didn't really hurt anything except for my MIG welder. The hose the gun got messed up. So since then, and it's been 2 weeks now, I've been going through and systematically cleaning each section of this barn, which is like, hasn't been touched in 8 or 10 years, and I just keep piling stuff in, and it became a huge storage shed, and you know, I was tired of that, so I've been kind of working on it. Let me go ahead and do that, and we'll walk around. So you can tell the sign, and this is the base of the sign, and that'll attach the concrete. From here to here, it's 10 feet. So it's a pretty substantial sign, and it's I think it was 55 inches across here. So you know, I got a lot to do here, and you know, I think I can handle it. There's a little bit of machine work to do, and a lot of welding, and then a lot of cleanup. So you know, and then each one of these little segments of this sign, as you can see, are designed out. And you know, down here it shows how many variations of this one design had to go through the bureaucracy in order to get it okay. So there's all kinds of little segments that need to be dealt with. And this one's going to be a real fun one because you know, of course, it's lathe work and setting up holes at degrees, which will be very interesting. Lots of variations in the tooling. And as you can see, just, you know, one little segment after another that needs to get built. But, you know, I think it's going to be okay. We're up to about 10 grand, as I said, right now on materials. And, you know, I'm hoping it doesn't go too much further than that. But, you know, each one of these little segments. All right, we'll go on to the rest of the barn here because it's like almost a brand new barn. Now back up here and you can kind of see the table in its entirety, and that's 10 feet long and 60 inches wide, and that's, like, you know, taking up half of the barn, as you can see. But you know, it's going to be an exciting project because once it's done, it can be weigh about 600 pounds. So I had to literally move my little hoist over to the table, and someday I'm going to set that hoist up with a little gantry rail on it. You can see at some point or another I'm going to be using this a lot. Well, that's the old the wooden thing behind it is the mock-up of the coffee table that I made here a while back. So let's go over to the lathe area and mill area. Although they really haven't changed a whole lot. Everything's going to be pretty much like it is, except the lathe. I never really wanted the lathe right there. It's all we could do to get it in that spot right there to where and set it down. We brought it in with a backhoe and set it in there, and I had always said, okay, what I want to do is I want to turn the lathe around and put it in this hole right here. You know, take the table out and set it in there. First I got to put a little concrete on the floor because, by the way, I'm sitting on a dirt floor. Well, that's not dirt. That's carpet over the top of dirt. But, you know, hey, it's funky, but do I like funk? Oh, I love funk. So anyhow, the lathe's going to go in there, and then the new welding test corner, which, by the way, this is where the fire was. You can see the blackened still from where the fire began, and then the fire kind of went up and started going up through the ceiling there. You can see the darkness in the ceiling. Wild. So I said, okay, we're going to dedicate a corner to welding and not have any old greasy rags hanging around, which is basically what I did. I welded over the top of some greasy rags. Duh. So I've set up this corner for welding, got a vent system in there, got it all set up and ready to go, and there we go. Okay, the first part of this project, only because I got these materials first, is this bird post. It's actually, what did they call it? A bird wire post. And basically we got little 6-inch long stubs with a couple of holes drilled in. Fairly simple process here. I actually went through yesterday and made 6 of those, and you can see, not pretty much a no-brainer, but a necessary part of it. And basically what they're going to do is put wire through the ends of these, and there's going to be one of these on one side of the monitor and the others on the other side of the monitor, and they're going to just string wire in between these two, and that'll keep the birds from landing on the monitor and shitting all over it, and building nests and other assorted things that birds do that corporations do not want. So we will put the bird wire thing up, no problem. Okay, the next part of this process is this little monitor support tube. And basically a single hole, although that hole gets drilled out on location. Basically what I'm going to do is square up the 2 corners on the lathe and then create that radius so that this radius can go up against the pole, and you'll see the poles later. So the radius can go up against the pole and then get welded in. So it'll be a nice clean edge that has a nice transition. So we're going to do that, and let's go ahead and move over to the mill. And here's the piece of pipe that we're going to work with. And I've already kind of squared up the center and found center. And now I'm going to come in with a little fly cutter, although I'm going to put a different bit in there. And we're going to measure out 2 inches so that we end up with a 4-inch diameter. And then we'll come in and cut that radius that the paperwork was talking about. And basically we're going to cut it on both sides and then cut this thing in half afterwards. So, hey, I think we should just get on with measuring and set this thing up. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to get a 4-inch diameter hole, or not a hole, but a cutting surface. And so what I've done is put this little piece of wood down, just so, okay, I'm going to wreck a little piece of wood, but I don't have to wreck a whole piece of metal. And then you can see the cutting edge right here. So what I'm going to do is turn the machine on and drop it down and get the radius and then measure that. So we'll just go ahead and do that. And there we've got some kind of radius going there. Of course, what's the size? Now, take a measurement, and we've got 3 and 275. So, looks like we need to go out just a little bit further. That shouldn't be too difficult. A couple of set screws, and this thing will drop right out. Another, what do we got? Another 3/4 of an inch, so that'd be 3/8 on this side. I'm just guessing here till we get close, and then once we get close, then I'll start taking a measurement. So let's try it again. Second one. Okay, that's about a 1/4 inch under still. And it looks like we might actually need a longer bit here. So let's shut everything down and get ourselves a longer bit. Alright, we've changed from, we could change the bit, or we could change the head. And we changed to a larger fly cutter and sharpen that bit till the razor edge, and now we can drop it down on the wood there and see what we can come up with. like we got to go another 1/8 of an inch out. Shouldn't be a problem. Now this is going to be machined as for a welding edge, so the plus and minus on this is what, 1/8 of an inch or so. As long as it's big enough to fit in on the radius of the pipe, you know, it can be larger without a problem. So because the weld's gonna take up any slack. So now we're just like, it's just a tad short, maybe a 1/16. Move it out a little bit, tighten her up. Let's try it again. That's good. So we're about a 1/16 over the 4-inch radius, which is just fine, because as long as it's, as I said, as long as it's just a little bit sloppy, then you know, it'll be fine, because the weld is straightening it right out. Well, not straighten it out, but fill in all the gaps. So we're set there, and we've got ourselves centered on the pipe itself. So now basically all we're going to do is take this thing and drop it down on the pipe a little bit at a time. And I think I want to slow this thing down. And that's just a bit too slow. So let's give it a try on full speed. Yeah, it'll be fine. Okay, pulling it in close. Bring it down till we touch. Okay, we're gonna bring this in till it touches. And we're just about ready to touch any second now. Come on, baby. As I said, any second. There we go. So we're getting just a bit of a touch there. Now basically I'm just going to go up and down, cut through, swing down to the bottom, and cut that. And then bring it in 10 thousandths, and we'll set up our digital so we can be, so right now we can just, and you can see it's starting to create that arc right off the bat. Bring it in another 10. Okay, so we've cut the sleeves and then also sectioned them so that they're 2 equal pieces, and that pretty much is all we have to do with that particular part of it. And now we've come over to the support bar, which is 3/8 by 4 inches, which is a massive amount. Jesus, there's a mess up right there. And what I did is came in and put it in the mill and squared up that edge, and now I'm coming back over here and I'm going to cut this end here, and I'll end up with the 52 inches.